Hi everybody, I'm a little starstruck today, I'll be honest. Today I am joined by the fabulous Rachel Harris. She probably doesn't need introduction, but I am going to ask her to introduce herself and talk about her business and also the type of clients that she works with. So over to you, Rachel.
Of course. Thank you so much, Natasha, for making time in your busy schedule for me. I'm so honoured to be asked to come on today. And again, my favourite part of my job is getting to chat to other accountants and bookkeepers. I am a professional oversharer, and so very excited to be asked lots of juicy questions by Tasha today. If we've not met before, hi, my name is Rachel Harris. I am a bit of a disruptor in the accounting industry, and so 5 years ago became self-employed, just me, my husband, and a laptop on our dining room table, and we are now a multi-seven-figure accounting firm. Have a Manchester office, an Oxford office. We are just waiting for our audit license to be approved. I have over 300,000 followers across social media. I do a lot of PR, press, TV work. I was interrogating Keir Starmer last week, and now Natasha gets to interrogate me. And so a huge part of my job is just bringing the sunshine, the passion, the enthusiasm that I've always felt as an accountant into mainstream media, whether that's on shows like Dragon's Den, Diary of a CEO, This Morning, or interviewing Keir Starmer on what my audience wants. And so, yeah, just super excited to overshare, have a good chat, and get to know each other a little bit better as well.
Fabulous. Can I ask how your journey actually began in the accounting world? What made you want to become an accountant? And second of all, I'm going to ask a sneaky extra question in. What made you want to become so socially out there to helping others? Because obviously your brand doesn't just inspire businesses to come to you, you inspire other accountants and bookkeepers to become a bit more vocal as well.
Yeah, of course, super happy to. So I didn't go to university. I was a free school meal kid, a charity shop kid. I didn't grow up in a household where there were big, chunky conversations or healthy conversations about money, but I was always very, very good at maths. I was always quite gifted at school. And from a very young age, because I'm a twin, I was a young carer. So my identical twin sister is disabled. And so from the minute we were born, part of my job was looking after her. And so was a young carer my whole life. Still am a carer now. And through doing that, actually really felt like I couldn't leave. I couldn't leave home. She needed me. My whole family needed a lot of support in making sure that my sister had a great outcome in life, which she has had. And so for me, I had unconditional offers to go to university, but actually turned them down because I felt like I couldn't leave home. And so as a result of that, actually did a stint in the civil service. So was actually a finance administrator for my local council. Did an apprenticeship start to finish in 6 months, because I'm pretty sure I just said to someone like, what's the fastest anyone's ever done this? And they said under a year. And so I did it in 6 months. That was an apprenticeship. It was in a finance department, but it was actually a business admin apprenticeship. And so on top of that apprenticeship, in evenings, I paid privately to go to night school, was earning £3 an hour over here. So I had to have jobs in bars, pubs, clubs, a pharmacy. I was dispensing medicine and trained up to be a dispensing technician in a pharmacy. So I was dispensing methadone to heroin addicts on a Saturday, working in a nightclub on a Saturday night, working in a pub the graveyard shift on a Sunday, and then going back to my apprenticeship on the Monday. But through doing that, realised that I had these soft skills that my peers that did go off to university just didn't have. Like, I could go to work, act corporate, chat to an FD, have really deep conversations about some journal entries that they let me post. But then evenings and weekends, I'm dispensing methadone to heroin addicts and can also build rapport, build connection, help people in a pharmacy who are poorly and unwell, and just really develop strong soft skills. As well as my entire life, I am building this skill set of translating the world as I see it to someone who has quite severe learning disabilities, which is my sister. And so built these soft skills. At my first opportunity, jumped straight into practice. I was desperate to work in practice from day one, but it was so hard to get experience. So then explored practice, worked at a few small independent firms, then landed at the top 75, which is where I completed most of my training. And then to segue into the second question, actually, it was doing an MBA changed my life. I actually have a little picture behind me of me graduating. And not going to university was something that I think I carried with me a lot. I think Now I've done a degree, I feel differently about it. But before, I think I carried a lot of imposter syndrome. I did a lot of my training at a firm where people with degrees, even if they were in geography, were paid better and kind of respected at a different level than the scrappy apprenticeship kid who will absolutely send her out to clients because she's brilliant, but we won't let her do complex tax returns. And so I was really keen to understand like how I could leverage my accounting qualification to do something else. And an old boss that I had recommended that I consider an MBA, which is a master's in business. So with no undergraduate degree, just got into a master's in business. And I realized like this is the middle of COVID. I started in 2020, started the MBA in 2020, and 3 months later had quit my job to do the firm full time. And through doing the MBA, realized that I'm wired a bit differently, I think, to normal people, but also normal accountants. And I think I became an accountant because I love people and maths. And actually, that means I love business and accounting, not just accounting. And so did all of this market segmentation and realized that during COVID, behavior is changing, search profile is changing. I am very millennial. If me and James are going on holiday or we're trying to find a nice dog walk for our dog, I'm not searching on Google, I'm searching on TikTok and Instagram. I want to see people doing day in the life videos. Like that's how people are searching for professional services, careers advice, all of the way through to holiday recommendations. And so I said to James, like, this is changing. And we were raised in a firm where you join a BNI, you go to a networking group, and that's how you grow your firm. And I said to James, like, I feel like this is, the tide's going to turn, and I think we could have a bit of a first mover advantage and just try really, really hard. I'm sure it'll be a podcast episode one day, but James said, that's a terrible idea, it'll never work. And I said, okay, fine, I'll work with you, we'll work together 9 to 5, and then evenings and weekends I'll start posting on Instagram and like just see what happens. And yeah, over 250,000 people later, here we are.
I can actually relate to some of that because I started the same as you. I actually did business administration at local council in 6 months as well. Yeah, that's how I got into accounting, and obviously I was doing the finance thing and then started my AAT that way through them. So very similar. So I completely relate to that, totally. Now, my next question is, what is the one word you would describe your relationship with technology in your business at the moment?
I'd say addictive. I am absolutely obsessed with new technology, and not in the way that I like, not in the traditional sense. I think I've seen it time and time again where firm owners almost get like shiny object syndrome. In that people try to solve problems with software, which I think is destined to fail. You have to understand the problem first, fix it with systems, workflows, and processes, and then use software to optimize it rather than to fix it. So software will not solve your problems. You will solve your problems, but then afterwards you can use software to systemize it. We lean very heavily into AI. We have lots of like custom GPTs. I, in my personal team, have 7 GPT employees that work with me, for me, and really support a lot of the creative and like strategy part of my job too. And so I don't think we've ever been in a time. I was talking to HMRC yesterday actually and said, like, I think 5 years ago, people, maybe pre-COVID, 6 years ago, people might have been like, right, I've got to do my CPD record this year. What am I going to put on? And now I'm like, is that a joke? I could fill in 1 CPD record for the entire year every week because the amount of updates that are coming out, like Rachel Reeves, every time she's up in the comments, we're all like doing the weird, the wacky, the wonderful, just trying to understand what this means. And so the CPD opportunities that we have at the minute are just so wild. And so, yeah, I'd say I'm addicted to understanding, predicting, analyzing like where this market is going, especially as someone who has a rapidly scaling firm, a rapidly scaling team. We've never sat at that like bottom service level. We've always sat like quite high touch point, almost boutique. Like our Google reviews are so much about the relationship, the deep relationship that they have with teams. And so I'm definitely addicted to understanding like what that means for the accounting firm, what that will mean for an audit function, as well as understanding new technology.
Fabulous. So let's talk about your favorite. What is the app or software you simply could not run your business without?
ChatGPT.
Yeah.
With the context of That's for me as a founder, not as an accountant in my firm. The accountants in my firm would say the tax filing software, the CRM, but for me as a founder, I actually thought to myself yesterday, I should go back and do one day in my life pre-AI, and I'm sure I'd hate it.
Yeah. So was it a game changer from actually using it from day one, or was it kind of a slow burn the more you use it? I know for me, I have ChatGPT on a separate computer in my room, and it does tests for me. So every morning it actually goes through my Microsoft Outlook, looks at what time I have free, and then blocks it out for my bookkeeping tasks. And that's just, but it's taken a while to train that. So that was a game changer, but it wasn't a quick one. It was a slow burn in and getting the right prompts and the right things to work. So was it a game changer for you using it?
Yeah, I think I was the same as you in that I think it's the same for a lot of people. The first time you use it, you think, it sounds like, when you open LinkedIn at the minute and you just know it's AI, that's how I felt at the beginning. I was like, oh, I don't like it. But my challenge to anyone listening to this would be, if you got an employee from another firm and on day one you decided that you didn't like it because they weren't trained well enough, the solution to that is not to get rid of them, it's to keep training them. And so with AI, I think the bit that lots of people forget is the feedback loop. And so if you're trying to train an AI, ask it, how can I train you? Then once you've done a little bit of training, don't forget to close the loop. So for example, if I said, can you give me a prompt that I can answer that you can turn into a LinkedIn post? And it regurgitates a LinkedIn post back to me. And I think, ew, that looks like ChatGPT, doesn't sound like me. The solution to that is not to just close ChatGPT, it's to take that copy, because the idea is probably not bad. Take that copy, change it, tweak it, make sure it sounds and looks and feels like you, post that on LinkedIn, but close the feedback loop. Yeah. So step one is put the final copy back into ChatGPT and say, based on what you gave me, this is what I actually posted. Please can you update your memory, learn and remember. One step further than that is 7 days later, 24 hours later, take the analytics from that post, impressions, comments, saves, sends, shares, who's looking, who's connecting with you, who's engaging, put that back into ChatGPT. And then not only will it train it on your tone of voice, it'll also start to train it on your audience. So I have Luke, who's my LinkedIn therapist. And that's exactly what we do with Luke. We train him every 7 days. He deeply understands it. He gives me a prompt. I answer in a voice note, and he is taken over LinkedIn.
Wow. So what is the main problems that ChatGPT solve for you? Because obviously we use software to kind of, like you said, you've clearly identified the problems, you've fixed it manually, but how does it fix it technology-wise? What's the problems it solves for you?
Yeah, of course. I think, and again, this is obviously specific to my role as a founder with the 20-person team. So if you're an accountant listening to this, don't worry if this isn't how you think it would relate to your role. I'd say again, it would be really interesting to get one of our accountants on the podcast, because I feel like their answers would be so different to mine, because our jobs are so different. For me, it's never about outsourcing the creativity, outsourcing the strategy. It's actually about using the data to get me there faster. So things like LinkedIn analytics, I have a document, putting in LinkedIn analytics every 7 days to train Luke, actually is about a 150-page document. He is able to analyze that data in a way that I never am. And I don't think you have to be a rocket scientist, accountant, AI expert to realize ChatGPT is really bad at compliance. Don't ask it compliance. It will be wrong. It will be out of date. The solution here is not to outsource compliance. It's to use AI to do our job. And if you've ever thought, felt, or been told that you're not going to have a job anymore, or that AI is going to replace your job, you are way more likely to be replaced by an accountant using AI better than you are to be replaced by AI. And so just be explorative, be creative. Everyone's will look differently, but for me, it's not actually about outsourcing anything. It's about getting me to that place faster, which I really feel like my ability to be creative, be strategic, delegate, remove emotion, whether it's that you're giving someone feedback, whether it's that you want to decline a prospect because you don't think they're a good fit, you can get AI doing deep learning, sentiment analysis. We have a process, and we've tested a process where we have a Microsoft function that sits inside team members' inbox and does sentiment analysis on emails, and if they get an email from a client that has negative sentiment, it automatically gets flagged to a compliance person who can pick that up and do some key account management with the client. Again, it's not that the team member wouldn't do that, but it's that they just don't have to think about it.
I totally get that. For me, I think ChatGPT as a sole practitioner myself has been like a learning assistant for me. So when I've struggled to write that difficult email to a client, or recently when I disengaged one, but I didn't want to put my anger in the disengagement, I wanted it to be factual. ChatGPT has actually done it factually and rather more of a sounding board. And I often chat to it as well.
That's why I say he's my LinkedIn therapist, because he's not writing the LinkedIn post.
No.
He is taking I basically have a prompt to every morning at 7 a.m. Sorry if people don't like gendered AI, but his name is Luke. He sends me a message at 7 a.m. saying, hey Rachel, here's 3 prompts. And it'll be like, can you tell me about a moment in the last week where your relationship has benefited because you work together? Can you give an example of a moment this week where you thought, that's why I became self-employed? And what I used to do on LinkedIn was worry about trolls, feel like I don't know who I'm talking to, feel like, I just don't really understand LinkedIn. And so rather than that happening, I just voice note as myself in my tone of voice back to him. And then he turns it into something that will perform well, has a strong hook, because I've taught him how to do it. But it just takes emotion away.
It does. And the other thing I've used it because I want to explain things on a non-accounting kind of level to people who want to know how their accounts are doing. I've asked it to interpret my notes to make it so it says, oh, right, well, you've actually spent more on this. And rather than me being overcomplicated, it's simplified things so people can actually understand my terminology a lot better. And I think something as simple as that, we forget that ChatGPT is absolutely amazing for that. As long as we're not putting thousands and thousands of data in that shouldn't be on there, and you're using the right level of security, I think that's fine. But for me, I think I obviously suffer from anxiety, and stuff like that is my reassurance. It's my sounding board to get the terminology correct and the right kind of message out to my clients for that as well. And it sounds like you're getting the right information to the right people with the data that you've collected historically to make sure you are targeting the right people who you can help with your
100%. And like even almost having a specific GPT, like acting as a co-founder, like having someone to talk to of like, we have the accounting firm, but I also have Accountant Sheet, which is its own business, and we have my PA, we have a full-time marketing person, an editor, and we're bringing in a head of product and growth. And so even being able to say to ChatGPT, this is how I imagine the org chart to look, I think it's quite flat at this point. Like 4 people isn't enough to have a hierarchy. I don't want to be a bottleneck, but also I think making one person the manager just adds in layers of approval. Is that right? What do you think? Like, what do other firms do that are creative, almost agency style businesses where there's only 4 people? Is this the right thing to do? How do I communicate that to my team? How can I test it? Like, it's a therapist.
It's fabulous. So in that case, would you say that it's actually saved you time, kept your sanity, and even possibly helped you scale by having that support with the analytics that it does for you?
Oh, it's helped me do all of those things today.
Okay, easy peasy then. Obviously, because you've mentioned that you've actually gone through the whole process, and have you used the deep dive function to actually go and analyze? Because that is blew my mind the first time I did that.
100%, like deep data. Again, like I host a podcast, and so when I am ideating or I've got notes on my phone for a podcast episode, I can say to ChatGPT, like, this is what works in our firm, but can you go away and do deep analysis so that I can bring in stats, figures, references, point of references, even social content. Like there's people comment on every video saying your numbers are wrong, your maths are wrong, and like even just having references, being able to go away and fact check what I've scripted before I post it saves my sanity. And like you said, I'm an anxious person too, and it just really helps me to maintain a very calm level, take emotion out of it. Sometimes comments, I get it to analyze comments, and comments that I would read a certain way, it actually, like, these people aren't being mean to you, you have a negative internal monologue, and so you think they are, but they're not.
No, I've done that. I've actually got it to reread something out to me and said, did they really mean what I thought it meant, or is it something? And when you put the whole context in, it said, no, actually, probably just it was out. Yeah, and it is so great for that. And I think this is the thing. We just think that people use it to get quick answers. Where, like I say, when you and I have put our time into actually getting it to learn who we are and what we're trying to do to the world. So like, get our work, get our sort of like our mission out there, saying helping other people, it does start to learn that. And the more you put into it, the more it actually really does give you sound advice. Sometimes it's a bit bizarre, but that's like any accounting, any software in the world does. But that's when you know which bits to take from it, which ones to not.
100%.
Do you see there's any common mistakes that out there that people are using ChatGPT? I know you've mentioned you've seen straight away on LinkedIn, you can go on and determine which one's an AI generated post, but have you seen other common mistakes with using AI and ChatGPT?
Yeah, 100%. The first is not updating your letter of engagement. Lots of accountants haven't updated their letter of engagement to ensure that the client has actually consented to their data being used to train AI models. Lots of people don't do that. I'm a bit, we have very customized letters of engagement, and I think I didn't realize that other people were like, well, that's the template, we don't stay away from the template. And we're like, how do you communicate values? How do you communicate expectations? Like, our clients sign something to say, I understand that my deadlines for you are not the same as my deadlines for HMRC, and so I will get my records to you within 7 days of the deadline, not within 7 days of the 7 days of the year end, not 7 days of the deadline. And so the first is not updating your letter of engagement to train AI. The second is make sure any data that you are giving it sits behind a paywall. If you're using the free version of ChatGPT, you are paying with your data. It's way cheaper to pay with money than it is to pay with data. I'd highly recommend using the paid for version. And then, the most valuable, I think, for me, past that bit of compliance, is closing that feedback loop. Just make sure that you are continuously, it's like a pasta maker. You've just got to go through and through and through and through. It's the same with systems. It's the same with workflows. It's the same with processes. You just have to stress test everything. But once you've done that, it's so easy to train them.
It is. If you had a magic wand and can change one thing about ChatGPT, what would you change, or would you leave it as it was? Because obviously it is one of the most fastest developing kind of softwares out there, AI softwares.
Yeah, I'd get it to never use an M dash ever again.
Yes. It loves that, doesn't it? It absolutely loves that. I think there's a way you can do that in the prompts and the settings, but every time you try and do that, it has another update and then it brings it back again.
Yeah.
Would you recommend it to everybody in our industry to get a hold of like AI and use ChatGPT? I mean, I have for a long time had an AI policy within my practice, and that's just because I've been dabbling with AI for the last 18 months since I started testing Sage Copilot. So I've always had a policy. Would you recommend that we all go out there and see, like you say, identify what bits you can get support with AI with?
Yeah, absolutely. And if someone was listening to this and they felt a bit nervous or a bit cautious and they weren't sure on what this looks like, don't test it in a work scenario. It's the same as when people try and pick my brains on marketing. I say, start creating where you consume. And so don't start with work if that feels scary to you. I remember this time last year, again, I was like really building traction with ChatGPT, and I was like, I'm going to get it to sort out my Christmas dinner. I do the same recipes every time, but I'm pretty sure every year I end up getting a bit stressed, a bit overwhelmed. I sit with my Jamie Oliver recipes. I'm doing unspeakable things to a turkey at the same time that I'm doing unspeakable things to a Christmas ham. I love it, but the timings get really stressful. And so I put into ChatGPT all of the recipes that I wanted to make, my plans for Christmas week, and I said to it, give me a shopping list ordered in, this is the shop that I go to, put the shopping list in the order that I walk round, give me alternatives for stuff in case it's chaotic and I can't get what I need. Then give me a time scale, then give me a plan of action for the day. And you don't have to solve War and Peace on day one of using ChatGPT. Get it to do low-hanging fruit. James and I just did a road trip across Canada. ChatGPT planned the entire thing. And so get it to start doing stuff that feels fun, doing stuff that feels joyful, doing stuff that you can fact check it if you are big need to, or you need to build your confidence. Like, you don't have to start at work. Start doing it in other areas of your life. Like James and I did our numerology the other day. We were doing we ran our numbers, and we did my numerology and his numerology, and then our numerology as a couple. Like, just have fun with it. And I think that will help you to work out, like, I do think in 2025, as we go into 2026, like, learning how to prompt properly is a skill that people are building quickly. And so that's actually where being playful can really help you explore that all of the way through to, I just finished my vision board. 2026, I uploaded my vision board into ChatGPT and said, this is my morning routine. This is the life that I want. Here's my vision board. What changes do I need to make to my morning routine to live that life, not this one?
Wow. I mean, I randomly did ask tarot card reasons. I like tarot things and things like that, so he does that. But my husband had never applied for a job in his life. He'd always sort of fallen into one, and he found this other job a couple of years ago, and we got ChatGPT to create him a CV for it, using all of his experience that we listed, and he got the job. So that's how you can use it in positive ways. I also planned my journey, because I live in the Lincolnshire, and I had to drive to Dorset and back in a day to pick my son up from the army, and it planned my stops and how far I needed to go and where the best places were to have breaks. So, like you say, play around with it, fun-wise, but it's also saving you time and actually taking stress away from you, actually.
Yeah, a lot of mental load. And I talk to it now. Like, I have realized that I talk to my ChatGPT so much that if I'm typing, it almost feels like it actually feels slow. Typing feels slow because ChatGPT has made me so fast, which is a bit scary to me. But I'm pretty sure when people were like sat on their horse and carts, they were like, whoa, cars are just too fast. And that's what is happening right now.
Yeah, no, I absolutely love my ChatGPT. I would not be without it now. Right, we're moving away from ChatGPT. Apart from that being your favourite, what is your other 3 top apps that you would not get rid of out of your tech stack?
Oh, great question. First is CRM. I will name drop as long as that's okay.
You can name them whatever they are.
Okay, great. I'm an oversharer. So Bright Manager is our CRM.
Yep.
The next is a software that we are launching soon that we have built internally, which is end-to-end client acquisition suite. And then the third is Sift Analytics. So with Strivex, the accounting firm, Strivex Audit, the new tech business, and Accountancy, there's 4 companies that sit within the group. And Sift obviously helps us, not obviously, if you've never heard of Sift before, Sift connects all of the accounting softwares, even if they sit on different software. So we use QuickBooks for some, Xero for others. It pulls together all of them, as well as automatically emails out KPI and custom reports to our management team, people who hold service lines like marketing. I can make sure that they've got 7-day KPI reporting, monthly revenue reporting. I can customize all of that, and it happens automatically, which I guess for the nature of our business where we're group reporting, Sift kind of goes one level above accounting software and really helps us make sure that we are hitting our KPIs, very confident, everyone's got the information that they need to, and we're quite transparent with our finances, so it really helps us to share that with the team as well.
Brilliant. And how often do you review your tech stack?
Oh, daily. Again, I think I say that with the context of we're not like a shiny object. We try not to use software to solve problems. We try to use it to like advance the firm.
Yeah.
And so right now, as an example, we're currently looking for like auto bank statement collection from clients. Like, we're consistently like that pasta machine, reviewing our workflows, understanding from the team and from clients, like where are the pain points, what's slowing this down. And again, from a client's perspective and the team's perspective, we are doing things like not starting bookkeeping and not starting VAT returns until we've got bank statements from the client, but software does exist to actually automatically collect them. And so right now we're currently stress testing which is the best product on the market, which one's best in class, which one fits best into our ecosystem. And so we're just continuously, through continuous feedback, trying to understand what are the pain points.
Perfect. What's your advice for those going out there who are getting overwhelmed by all the software choices out there? Because obviously we all go to these events, like you say, we have the magpie syndrome, but we do get overwhelmed with it, and we kind of fail to remember what the problem is we're trying to solve in the first place.
Yeah, I think firstly, make sure you're getting your money's worth out of your existing subscriptions. I I don't know if you'll be able to hear it in my voice, but I'm a northern girly, and if you cut it open, gravy comes out. And what that also means is that I love getting value for money, and so we really try very hard to make sure we're getting maximum ROI for any outgoings. Again, we're a bootstrap startup, like we've done 0 to 2 million with no investment, and actually have been profitable the entire time, but that only comes from being very intentional in what we're spending and when. Go to your software vendors like Bright Manager. We signed up to 5 years ago when it was accountancy manager.
Yeah.
We signed up to 5 years ago, and for 5 years I've been like, Jonathan, this is like, can you do this? What about this? Can we change this? Like, talk to your software vendors to make sure that you don't need another subscription. And then if you do, my second tip is don't talk to the vendors, talk to your friends, talk to firm owners who use that software, talk to them about the good bits, the bad bits, ask them for a demo, because I guarantee I would show you around Bright Manager in a very different way to a salesperson would show you at Bright Manager. I'd show you the best bits, the worst bits, the bits that you probably couldn't even find if you were trying to. And so understand deeply if there is a need. Make sure that your existing tech stack doesn't cover it, because sometimes people have lots of overlapping subscriptions that is overkill. And then past that, talk to other people to find out, do I need to book a sales call, or can I just say, Tasha, can you share your screen and we go through this together? Because I don't know if this actually is fit for purpose, but I don't want to be emailed 20 times by a salesperson.
No, I totally get that. That's my pet hate at the moment, the fact that we don't actually communicate enough with our software vendors to say that we've got this problem, does your solution solve this? Because I think half the time we haven't had the time to go and actually watch all the updates, which we should do. And I think that was great advice. So, quick fire round. So, iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
Xero, QuickBooks, or Sage?
Xero.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
What is one piece of tech or business wisdom you wish you'd learned at the beginning rather than now?
Ratios and rhythm. So I just filmed, I'm the host of the Practice Owners podcast. Sorry, this is quick fire. You want me to shut up?
No, carry on.
I am the host of the Practice Owners podcast, which is a thriving community of accountants and bookkeepers who own their own firms. And I actually sat down this morning, and this is very much the episode that I wish I had 5 years ago, which is all of the ratios, all of the financial rhythm. So like, how much money should a specific team member be able to generate, as in multiples of their salary, fee value per month, what are the KPIs, ratios of like chargeable to non-chargeable team members if you're rapidly scaling, chargeable to non-chargeable ratios if you're plodding. And I just wish that the Practice Owners podcast existed 5 years ago. It's like weekly episodes of me being like, take my trauma so you don't have to go through the same trauma. Like, don't work this out the hard way, because the industry to me has it's evolved so much in such a short space of time. And to me, that evolution has come from friendship. It's come from us doing stuff like this. It's come from like me saying to you at Accountex, like, how can I help you? Like, this is amazing. I love what you're doing. Like, you're nurturing this community. And I think so many people wouldn't believe that that's what it's like behind the scenes, or I'm saying, Natasha, you're amazing. How can I help you? You know, I think people would think it's different to that. And actually all of it just comes from, you don't become poor by giving, is my personal core value. And so that's where a lot of it comes from. Brilliant.
And my final question for you today, Rachel, is what app do you think is underrated and deserves a little bit more love?
I reckon Sift. I don't hear many practice owners talk about Sift Analytics, and I think a lot of them maybe have done what we did the first time, which is not use it properly or think, oh, this is a bit complicated. And so, Sift Analytics has been really game-changing for us.
And obviously, now that it's part of the Xero ecosystem, it's a bonus as well. Yeah. No, that's fabulous. Really want to say thank you very much for your time today. I hope everybody's enjoyed it. Obviously, it was a bit of a no-brainer having Rachel on as a Christmas special. She's one of our most inspiring accountants in the UK at the moment. So thank you very much for spending half an hour with me today.
Thank you so much for having me. Again, if you've been listening, I feel like long form like this is so intimate. So like wherever you've been listening, wherever you've been watching, if you've had me and Tasha on one screen and you're tippy-tapping on the other, or if you like me and you listen to this stuff on dog walks, just thank you guys so much. I'd absolutely love to hear from you. You can find me everywhere that you consume content. at the handle accountant_she.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, everybody, and thank you for being part of this fabulous podcast today. Thank you.